To schedule a patient, what we'd want to do is go to the My Day component, click the little blue clock. On this screen, you want to change your patient mode from your staff mode. The staff mode is the red cross, and the patient mode is the blue little man sitting in a chair. So we're going to select our patient mode. This opens our filing cabinet of patients that we have to choose from. So we'll select a patient or search for one if they're not in our drop-down menu. Choose the time we want to see the patient. Clear our times or our duration because that will be driven by the time log. Select our discipline, which is skilled nursing or social work. Select yourself if you're the person that is indeed going to see this patient. If it's not, assign it to someone else by using the search ellipsis. And then choose your service code. What will you be doing with that patient? You'll be scheduling admission visits, routine visits, discharge visits, and aid supervision visits. On-call charting will be done in the clinical note screen, sending that note to charting. You'll then save this data, and you'll see that the patient will end up on the schedule, John Dreyer, for a skilled nursing visit. To get to the patient's chart then, I would go back to My Day and find that patient is indeed on my schedule for today. That is how you schedule a patient. So now let's say I'm going to see that patient. I want to click on the patient. That will open my time log. You'll see a red flashing time. We want to clear that scheduled times. And you can either do it for the current visit or for all scheduled visits. For this visit, we're going to do it for the current visit. After your documentation is done and your visit is done, you can go back and enter your actual times into your time log. From this point, we want to get to the patient's chart, so this P right here means jump or pop to the patient. And that will open the patient's record for our documentation. We always want to come over here and maximize our screen. So we want to click that open, and you will see that this is what the routine page will look like. It'll say no assessment selected, but we have one scheduled, and it's a new assessment, so we want to click on the blank piece of paper. And it'll ask us some questions. It'll tell us we're connected to the visit, and that is good because we want it to be scheduled for billing. And what kind of visit is it? Well, we're going to do a routine visit. If all of that looks good, we say OK. If you're doing a routine visit and this patient is being discharged, or perhaps this is a death visit, you want to click the button right here that says DT Summary. That's Discharge Transfer Summary. That will create a summary of the patient's encounter in our care. If all of that looks good, we click OK, and that is going to pull that assessment in so we will know what areas need to be documented for that patient. And here comes our assessment. Once we have the assessment pulled in, we want to open all the positive signs on the left side of the assessment screen. Be sure to use your toolbars up and down to search up and down the screens, as not everything will be shown. And then you can begin your documentation by starting right up here and start documenting on that patient. Once your assessment is done for a routine visit, we want to come over to our problems and make sure that we have active problems for the patient. This is your care plan. If we need to add some problems, we can add the problems, the goals, interventions right here. To add a problem, we would just select the problem, and then we would come over here to this area and add our interventions. We would select what interventions were appropriate for this problem and click OK. It's asking me for a modifier. Do I want to modify this to make it more specific to the patient? If I do, you would just double click in that area and then type what you need to type in that area and click OK. Those are your interventions, so now let's add our goals. You can select the goals that are appropriate and click OK. You can also modify them within 24 hours, make them timely, to make them patient-specific. You'll then save that data and then move over to your next tab across the screen, which is Problem Charting. And this is where you update your goals and interventions and chart against the things that you did during that visit. We'll check our visit frequency to make sure the patient has a visit frequency done. This patient does not, so we're going to add skilled nursing, and this is usually done on admission. We're going to say that skilled nurse is going to go see that patient twice a week, and we're going to set them up through the first 2 weeks of IDT. And then we'll save that data. This is where you can add your aide, you can add your social work visits, and you can add your PRN visits. If you're satisfied with all of that criteria, you can go back to your time log, which you'd go through home care, transactions, and time log pops up, and then you can enter your actual times that you spent charting and visiting with that patient. And that completes a routine visit.